Hello. On this special episode of The Editor and the Alien, we're going to begin with a special story, a brief little tale about a leprechaun and a bottle of whiskey. Now, this little leprechaun once loved comic books, but there was only one thing he loved more than comic books, and that was his whiskey. And when his comic books went sour, they went woke, and began to be complete shit, all he had left was his whiskey. And so he drank and drank and drank some more and drank more of his whiskey. And after a while, he became an angry drunk. And he decided, fuck it, I feel like reading those comics some more. So he went back to those comics and thought, well, maybe they'll be better drunk. But lo, they were even worse drunk. And he drank even more. And then he decided, fuck it, I'm a leprechaun. I can conjure things up. And he conjured himself up a chainsaw and went to the offices of DC and Marvel and decided to do some editing of his own. I don't know. Am I entering into a slander territory here, or things that might get this broadcast pulled?
I don't know if slander is quite the word for it. I see it as a fairy tale.
And
this
then
is a happy story.
Then he saw the banshee.
Which one?
The thing that was once a man, but then became a lady thing. A lady thing that screeched and screeched about needing to beat people up with a baseball bat. And he said something offensive, and whipped out that chainsaw and did what surgery.
Hey, lady, your dick is showing.
And then it wasn't anymore. And then he found King Baby, and he thought King Baby needed to lose some weight. I can't keep this up. Okay, hello everyone.
Now, you must understand. This is our beloved alien sober. This is not him with an ounce of booze at all.
Well, I actually don't drink much. There was a brief period in my life, about a year and a half, where I did drink quite a bit. And it wasn't really a happy time.
No.
About the only thing that I'll drink now is some sake. But sake is a kind drink. It doesn't make anyone upset.
You can't get angry on sake.
No, you just kind of feel warm inside. Now, Sailor Jerry, on the other hand, that's a different story. And the worst thing is Sailor Jerry and a telephone. That's a terrible idea. Or Sailor Jerry and Twitter.
Yeah.
Now, there's some memories. Sailor Jerry's, Twitter, and my old publisher. And my lawyer saying, okay, you can stop now. And calling me up and saying, you didn't do anything illegal yet, but pull that tweet just cuz, okay?
I had forgotten about that.
So we'll just have to imagine an alien leprechaun with a chainsaw visiting the offices of a certain publisher with a bottle of Sailor Jerry. Or Dewars. Dewars is pretty good, yeah.
Really? Is
it?
Yeah. I have not had Dewars.
But
I am not a good Irish lass. I am all of the things that are Irish. I'm not very into.
Your grandmother was.
Oh yeah, no, she was. No, I mean as far as drinking goes.
Oh, I've seen your grandmother's pictures in her youth. She was a bonnie.
Oh yes, yeah, she was a bonnie lass. But
your grandfather was a lucky man.
Yes, he was.
But we can make a connection here because this is going to be all over the place. Now, one of the interesting things was, and you can draw connections, was in the Lovecraftian mythos, there were the Migo. And the Migo were this alien race who had a base or an outpost out on Pluto, but would live in the what lived in the hills of Vermont and what was it, Reading?
Yeah.
Uh,
No, Reading's Pennsylvania.
Not Reading. What was it? Rutledge.
Rutland.
Rutland, Vermont. They were hiding in the hills under Rutland, Vermont, and that in the story, "The Whisperer in the Dark," it was theorized that in fact that the fairies that the Irish folk were communing with in the old country and when they came to America were in fact this alien race, the Migo, and that they were cutting deals with them because, well, Lovecraft had a wonderful view of the Irish.
He had a wonderful view of everybody.
Yeah, he was pretty frightened by everything. But interestingly enough, later in Whitley Strieber's book Communion, where he talked about anal probes getting shoved up his ass, believe it or not, that actually is an extremely good book. I view it more as kind of a dive into one man realizing or coming to terms with his own insanity and deciding to stay insane.
How well did the movie
decently in theme it did a decent job. Through his long process of trying to rationalize his bizarre experiences, he kept likening his experience with the Greys as to the legends of the Fey folk in England, and he drew a lot of interesting parallels.
That he fell through a mushroom circle?
Kinda. But no, there were a lot of parallels he drew, including the imagery. And while he took it one way, I took it to more of the mean that those symbols have been buried in this culture's mind for a very long time. And at one point we saw them as fairies, and now we see them as science angels. We can do a whole show on this. I'm very well read on the subject.
Of which things specifically?
Both.
Of both?
Yeah, of Fey folk and aliens, Greys.
Well, since gray is not green, I think Fey folk is probably closer to the spirit of St. Patty's Day. Even though, no, the Fey do like their drink. They drink heavily too, depending.
And they kidnap people.
Oh, they very much so kidnap people.
Changelings.
And they, turn people's heads into asses.
But anyway, as far as St. Patrick's Day, I've often said over and over again on the air, don't let the name fool you. I'm half Irish, and I would say culturally that's what I am more than anything, is Irish American. But where does this come from? Well, the surname Finney has multiple origins, the main one being the Irish Finney, or the Ulster variant, Fine, as if you cared. But there's...
Fine. It sounds almost Italian.
Fine?
Fine?
I don't know.
Fine.
Yeah, the character on Boy Meets World. Same pronunciation.
Kit!
Yes. But it probably roots back to the Old English and Norse, meaning coarse grass or enclosure. It also is from the Gaelic...
Quick, Alosi Doddle, sorry Alosi if I'm slaughtering your name, says that you and Buddy should talk about the Fae together.
I don't know, he seems annoyed when I bring it up.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because he's kind of cutting his own whole cloth. He's kind of making his own up.
Oh, okay.
Where I often talk about the actual folklore, where he's kind of weaving his own mythos.
Which is not a bad thing.
Also, it's from a Gaelic word, fin, which basically means fair, true, or wise, which you guys can decide if it fits me or not.
Popcorn Chronic says, does it have anything to do with Finn McCool?
No, actually, no, it doesn't. None in the least. Interestingly enough, I'm not going to read any of that. I did a little lineage research I dug up, but, it's not that important. I think the real interesting thing is to say that lineage-wise, my family seems to have primarily been Black Irish, which supposedly has to do with when the Spanish Armada washed up on Irish shores and ended up intermarrying with the people living there, the Celts,
silky children,
which produced Celts with black hair and dark eyes. So as you can tell, I was pretty much destined to have black hair and dark eyes, no matter what. So let's go through these comments, and Kat can talk a bit about St. Patrick's Day, and I'm going to pinch her boobs.
Don't pinch them. That's awful. You can grope them. Just don't pinch them.
No, you're supposed to pinch on
No, I'm wearing green.
Okay, well, I'll kiss your boobs then. How about that?
Okay, there you go. Kiss my Blarney Stones.
At Boulders. Okay, you talk. I'm going to go through to see if there's any comments to bring up.
Well, you gotta set me up. What do you want me to talk about?
What are you drinking tonight?
What am I drinking tonight? Well,
And you can make something up if you want.
I can make something up. Well,
Crushed skulls of troll.
Crushed skulls of troll. Well,
Fermented in
a perfect world, I would be drinking whiskey because I loves me some whiskey. But alcohol does very bad things with my medication. And so I am teetotaling on this joyous day and I am drinking something fruity instead. But I am pretending that it is whiskey.
It's kind of interesting, despite the Celt blood that Kat has. I would say her cultural experience really didn't include any Irish American, despite her grandmother, which is kind of interesting because despite all that, she did inherit the Irish temper, or known as the Irish H-bomb.
You've never seen me drunk.
No, I've seen you angry.
Yeah, you have seen me angry. That is true.
The anger of
the anger, the anger of a thousand suns. There,
that redheaded anger thing is not a stereotype; it's real.
I've gotten so angry. I have literally seen red and blacked out before.
Honey, the only people who have ever said that to me, literally seen red when they're angry, were all female redheads. They were all redheads with Celt lineage.
Really? Guys haven't said that?
I have never heard a guy say that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Celeste used to get that kind of anger one.
Now, see, I'm disturbed when you say she used to, because I've only gotten that angry twice in my entire life.
Her fuse was a lot shorter than yours.
Oh.
Never directed at me, but it was entertaining to watch.
Mine's tempered, where it takes me a while to get there, but when I get there, oh, you better pray you're not my target. I literally choked a guy bad enough that my fingers met on the other side of his windpipe. I was that pissed off, and I had him held up against a wall.
All right, Kronk. Well, he says, I think Finn might have been a Scottish legend anyway. No, actually, that is Irish, although I believe there is a Scottish variant.
I think there was. I thought I saw something about it when I was at the Scottish Rite Festival last year. So, looking up my family, I have both Scottish and Irish in my family. I think the Gowdylocks, though, are Irish. So, yes, I do have claws. Yes, I do. Anime acid trip.
Gowdylock.
Redheaded.
I mean, come on. See, we're destined for it.
Yeah.
See, just like I was destined to have dark features no matter what. There you go.
Yep. Gowdylock on my grandmother's side. My grandfather was a strawberry blonde. I was going to be a redhead no matter what. Now,
despite her freckles and copper hair, the ironic thing is she's also how much Filipino?
Oh, the same amount as I've got Mexican in me. I'm an eighth. So I'm an eighth Filipino. There's an interesting story.
Four Roses Bourbon, the only American bourbon distillery owned by Japanese warlords. That sounds fun. That sounds like the premise of an anime.
Okay, I had heard of Four Roses before, mainly because the film crew brought it up as a quip in Hollywood After Dark. But I didn't know that. I'd have to look into this now. Okay, Super Anime Gamer 01 says, I'm Irish. I don't drink and I don't have a temper. Am I secretly an alien?
Okay, well, you can have fun with that one. It really all depends on what you believe. Now, I've contended over and over again, and I know this is to great disappointment to a number of people who have listened to me, that no, I don't believe in the Greys. I find them fascinating. I think that they're
You're ruining it.
A symbol that's very deep within our mind that dates back to something very, very old and has taken multiple forms throughout the eras.
So you're an imposter, Zeta Reticulan?
And that We actually they're an archetype in our mind that keeps popping up, and it's actually specific to the Western mind. Um, Aside from the Japanese, grays don't pop up in nightmares or night terrors or any of that. They don't see it. Same with India. Actually, India apparently is a beautiful woman. I think they got that. They were much wiser in their mind and decided their night terrors should be hot chicks. But so just take that for what it is. I'm more interested in the cultural significance of the grays, and I just find them fascinating for what they represent. But if you take the whole thing about gray aliens being seriously, and that there being a meshing of grays and them actually being the fairy folk, well, you might secretly be a gray. I mean, what do you think a changeling is? The fairies came and left one of their own in a human's place,
Now,
and they forget.
do you like the idea that they turn the one that they take into a fae, or do you like the idea that they eat and or sacrifice the child that they have stolen?
Well, there's none to favor because there are multiple reasons that the fae may steal children. Now, as I recall, sometimes it's just because they think it's funny. Seriously, sometimes they steal kids and replace them with their own because they think it's funny in the old mythos. But then in the legends, sometimes it's to eat the kid, sometimes it's to enslave it or turn the kid into one of their own, a fae.
I'm sorry. Every time I hear about babies being stolen and taken away, you'd think that my go-to would be Labyrinth, but it's not. It's that Maurice Sendak book. I think it's Outside Over There. If any of you ever had this book, this was nightmare fuel for me as a child because the art is so absolutely drop dead gorgeous to look at, but it's all about this baby being stolen and the sister having to go find the child, and it's a horrendous tale. So every time I think about babies being stolen, I think of that book. Popcorn Cronkins. Mr. Finney, are you culturally appropriating from the Zeta Reticulans?
I am a Zeta Reticulan. What do you mean?
So are they not gray?
Oh, they're gray.
They are gray.
Yeah, they're gray.
Yeah, but so you don't believe in yourself?
Yes, exactly.
Is that why you wear the human suit?
Exactly.
You're a pretender?
I'm appropriating the human culture.
That's what you're appropriating. There you go.
Actually, Kronk, it's interesting. If you are not aware of this, the whole thing about calling grays Zeta Reticulans dates back to the very first case that they were supposedly cited, which is extremely interesting. Hey, oh, great. This is St. Patrick's Day, and we're going to have to talk about aliens instead.
Hey, why not?
This is typical one of our shows.
Yeah.
Back in, I think it was 1962, 61, somewhere thereabouts, there was the famous case of Betty and Barney Hill. Yes, that is really their names. It was an inter-race couple, a black man and a white woman, who were married, and they were driving home one night, and supposedly they were the first to experience abduction, missing time, and even having their memories brought back up via post-hypnotic regression. And I will admit, if you go up on the internet and track down the actual recordings, especially of Barney's hypnosis, it is some creepy shit. It is fascinating and well worth listening to. You could do whole psychological studies on what came out of that. But part of it is Betty claimed that they had been given a tour of the saucer that they had been taken on board of, and that the aliens had shown her a star map saying that was a trade route. And she had drawn the star map. And then years and years later, a math teacher, and I forget where, had been putting that star map through various computations from different angles, and finally determined, in her opinion, I think it was her opinion, that the constellation, it was the Zeta Reticula constellation that we were seeing. Now, there's a lot of problems with that theory, but it stuck. So that's actually where the name came from, was the idea that they came from the Zeta Reticula system.
That's interesting. That was like, what, in the 60s, right?
Well, the abduction case was in, I believe, 61.
Mm-hmm.
But it really didn't take hold until the 70s.
Okay. No, Endless Nocturne says aliens and alcohol are highly related, as plaster people tend to see a lot of aliens.
There's actually ridiculous amounts of truth to that. Also, Bigfoot sightings and people who claim to have sex with aliens, there's quite a bit of alcohol involved. And there are amazingly a lot of stories about people having sex with aliens.
Well. Speaking of, the Fae, what about all these stories of guys being abducted and then given like an absolutely gorgeous woman who just doesn't look right?
That's one of the really creepy ones, because there have been multiple cases in which guys who had no possible way of knowing each other, knowing about the case, telling almost the identical story of having some weird encounter of creatures coming into their room or taking them aboard a ship, and this very gorgeous pixie-like woman with a ridiculously idealized figure with this impossibly tight waist and fair pale skin and kind of a very almost heart-shaped head with big eyes and huge tits and platinum blonde hair, giving the most incredible sex with them and then leaving them. And this story has come up multiple times, which is a little weird. And I mean, we're talking like it happened in Brazil. There's been one in England. There was one in the US. And in some cases, there was no possible way they could have known of the other people, which is a little weird, but I don't know. So, Janelle, about American Horror Story Season 2. Yes, I actually do think it was heavily based on the Hill case.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what else do we got here?
There was a comment. Where did it go? There we go. Your favorite Irish comic book character. We were talking about these, actually.
Well, it isn't Banshee.
No.
And Moria is Scottish, but damn was she hot. Well, let me think about that.
Since I haven't seen her name written, is it Moria or Moira?
I think it's actually Moira.
Okay.
It depends. Didn't they keep pronouncing it wrong in different versions of the cartoon?
I always heard it pronounced as Moira, and I just remembered that because Moira is Wendy's daughter's name from Peter Pan.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you talk about something for a minute.
Look, again, you got to set me up. Okay, Irish. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I don't really know any specifically Irish superheroes. I'm terrible that way. It's weird. I know Russian ones. I know, almost all the other ones, but I really couldn't tell you any Irish ones. Maybe it's because all the Irish ones are either obscure or they annoy me. So. Well, no, they're all pretty. Okay, come on, Banshee. I mean, if just on that alone, that's fine. But I honestly didn't know he was Irish until extremely recently. It's like, really? Now you've just ruined his name for me.
Poison Ivy.
Well, redhead. Okay, yeah. There you go. Poison Ivy.
She's not a hero. I don't care. I do her. She can kill me. That's a way to die that's okay in my book.
She'll give you a little wood.
Or a lot. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I take that back. You're right, Unqualified Comics. Irish American, Matt Murdock. You cannot go wrong.
Okay, yes.
And you know what?
Yes.
Actually, that is a great one.
I agree.
That's
I agree.
Great one to bring up, because not only is he Irish American, in a lot of ways, he captures the quintessential Irish American experience on the East Coast of that era in so many ways. And so, yeah, you really can't top that.
Actually, I would say that struggle was relevant and contemporary until very recently.
Yeah, I would say. Well, there's a reason that Thomas Sowell considered the Irish the American success story. Most of them, when they came here, were either extremely poor, and it was during the potato famine, or prior to that, they were indentured. And in both cases, regarded as second-class citizens, they were regarded as violent drunks who had a crime problem.
Some were slaves.
And guess what? Let's be honest. for a very long time, the Irish American population were drunks with a serious crime problem.
Mm-hmm.
No, seriously, there was a serious violence and
Oh,
crime problem
I know.
back in the day. And over time, they used the tools of the American system to pull themselves up to become, well, essentially one of the backbones of American labor force.
Mm-hmm.
They're part of, in a lot of ways, they were the backbone of much of the American labor force. And so, yeah, there's a reason they're often referred to as the Irish success story. And I think Matt Murdock reflects that.
No, I agree. Let's see. I took a bunch of shrooms once and saw kaleidoscope alien ships in the sky, firebugs crawling out of a bonfire, and my fingers turned into tentacles. It was a perfect Lovecraftian trip.
We need to have you on to talk about this. This sounds like a show right here. That we still need to bring you back on to talk about X-Men.
Yeah, there's some X powers right there.
Yeah, there's a few people in the chat that we need to eventually get on air. Kronk and was it BCC as well need to get on the air at some point. Let's see, open mic night. You know, we could do an open mic night. I mean, we'd have to establish some rules.
How to, trying to figure out how to do that.
I mean, I suppose if various people wanted to pop up and we could give you a little bit of time, and we give you the link and then we hang up on you after a little bit.
Well, I know that's what Magog does when he does open mic night is he'll have people come on, you stay on. If the room starts getting a little crowded, then, okay, got to say goodbye to one person and let somebody else come in.
Oh, Christ. Okay, why not? You want to do an open night mic? People in the chat who've got a mic set up who want to jump in, let me know. Send me your Twitter, and I'll send you a link. This could go great or it could be a disaster. It'll be interesting.
Are you talking tonight or are you talking at a future date?
Right now.
Right now? Okay. Okay. Tell everybody what your Twitter handle is in case they don't know.
Oh, J_Ishiro. That's it. Well, you need a mic. Is there a mic on your headphones?
That's to Anime Acid Trip. Says I have headphones. Does that count? Like, well, yeah, but we couldn't hear you.
Okay, Janelle and Kronk, I'm going to send you both links. Yes, I'm putting you on the spot. Say something.
Well, set me up. What am I saying?
Let's do another story about leprechauns with chainsaws. Upset at Dan DiDio.
Well, see, I am not the teller of tales. I am the one who takes that chainsaw to Tails and hacks them up and polishes that raw diamond into a fine gem.
All right, so my tale of the little drunk leprechaun with the chainsaw.
Well,
what was wrong with that story? What would you do to improve upon that?
Well, that was an audio experience. That is different than a tale on paper. I cannot touch that. That is an experience that can only be done once and once only.
Okay, Janelle and Kronk, you've both been sent links if you want to jump on in at any point. And the fact that I'm already getting a little tongue-tied is a very bad sign, but
why is it
I don't know.
He's getting tongue-tied and no alcohol.
Bring me a sake, woman.
Do you want me to go find you one?
We got one in the cabinet somewhere, but I don't think that'd be a good idea.
No, they're not in the cabinets. They're in one of the boxes. We have not unpacked the sake yet.
Oh, okay. We'd have to do it right. We'd have to warm it up.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what's your
for.
grandmother's story then? I mean, I talked a little bit about my lineage, about being Black Irish, and just the various routes at which Finney's got here. Did she come over during the famine, or her family?
I don't know, honestly. I just know that the Goudylocks were primarily Southerners, and then they lost their land, and then during the Depression, my great-grandfather was actually kept his job and was able to provide for his family by working for the railroad. So they traveled a lot. In fact, for years I thought that my grandmother must have been in the military with the amount that they traveled, but no, it was due to the railroad. So I don't know much other than that the Goldilocks are Scottish and then went into Ireland, and they were part of the. God, I'm trying to remember the McPherson clan. And it's McPherson, not McPherson, because there is no fear in McPherson. So there you go.
What about the Clydesdales?
That's my grandfather.
Oh, okay.
No, that's my German side. No, we'll talk about that on Oktoberfest. I got tales about my German side. Because my grandfather has done extensive genealogical research into that side of the family. But unfortunately, I don't know much about my grandmother's side. So
You could talk about the war.
which part?
What she did.
What my grandmother did?
Her tutoring your grandfather for the Marines and the Air Corps.
She didn't tutor.
Yeah, she did. She did. Oh, maybe she didn't tell you that. She told me this. So did your grandfather. Well, why did they tell me and they didn't tell you?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I am baffled. I'm gonna no, it's not. I need to talk to my mom about that then, because from what I heard, they dated while he was on leave, and then when he got sent back out, he proposed to her. And when he came back very briefly, they got married, and then he left. So
no, actually, they told me that one time I was asking them, both your grandfather and your grandmother, about the time during World War II.
Mhm.
Then they got into real depth about when he was training to go into the Marines as a crew chief.
She was helping him to get that promotion. Yes, I do.
She was helping him study. And
I do know it. Yeah, okay. No, you said tutor, and I'm like, well, she was never his teacher. But you meant for his promotion. That meant something.
Okay, we've got a fun question here.
Yeah. Did you see the Cringe Fest New Warriors comic that Marvel is putting out?
We've hit that point where parody and reality are indistinguishable. New characters, what are they? They're interracial, black and mixed with something else. They're brother and sister, Snowflake and Safe Space. One has snow powers, one has a force field. And my only question is, why stop there? Seriously, why stop there? How about Race Card? Race Card, his ability would be that nothing is ever his fault. No matter what he does, he's blameless. Or how about Body Positivity? She's an 800-pound beast of sexy electrical beauty who can shoot lightning bolts out of her gut. Or strong female protagonist, has the ability to slay any franchise. Trans-trender, can shift into any one of 1001 genders. Or how about the amazing Desmond, child drag
that got dark real quick.
Of course it did. Well, do you have any ideas you want to add to that?
I think Snowflake should be like the guy that's at the parties that nobody likes, but everybody's buddies up to because he has the blow. He can make blow out of his hands. He sweats cocaine, and that therefore he's everybody's friend. He's the party snowflake.
Oh, and Beta Cuck has the ability to write shitty Marvel comics that pander to the woke agenda.
She's just Tom King. Dude, so the one minority chick is a fat ass. I don't know if that is annoying or actually kind of racist.
Okay, what are you referencing to here?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Is that something real?
Oh, I mean, what is there? Faith?
Yeah, but Faith, of course, is the
Yep.
yeah, Faith. But Faith's blonde, isn't she? Is she not blonde anymore?
Oh, she's blonde.
No, I mean, is she not blonde anymore?
I don't know. So wait, talk about
Yeah,
your
okay.
opinions on Faith.
Oh God. Oh, you want to get me started on my opinions on Faith? Okay. My biggest problem with Faith is that she's a one-note punchline. And that's all she ever was. And until somebody actually with talent gets a hold of her and writes a person, that's all she ever will be. She is constantly the funny, fat best friend who will never get a date, is always, bordering on teetering on the edge of depression. She's one donut away from slitting her wrists, and yet we are told that we're supposed to find that funny, and that's constantly happening, right down to the fact that, like, fucking Hillary Clinton best friend Faith. I mean,
I
Christ.
don't think my mic is working.
So that's my problem with Faith. Everyone's like, "Oh, she's so, she's body positivity and so meaningful." It's like she's a fat joke.
So live on air with us right now is Janelle.
Hi, Janelle.
Oh, wait, shit. Plug in the mic.
Huh?
Or not the mic, plug in the speaker. I don't have the speakers plugged in.
Oh.
Hold on, we can't hear you yet. Oh, great. This is
No, she left the room.
Oh shit. Well, Janelle, we didn't have our speakers plugged in at the moment. If you come back on air, we'll talk. This is some really great radio. So you can continue.
No. This is live and unscripted. You can't plan this. This is a moment. Just like that leprechaun.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah?
Faith has a built boyfriend.
Faith has a svelte boyfriend? So her svelte boyfriend is a chubby chaser, huh? Now we are getting into the territory of where they are pretending that Faith is supposed to be the character that all the girls reading comics can map themselves over, and she can live the life that they wish that they were reading, that they were living. When really, that's really the life women wanted to read. They can just pick up a Harlequin romance novel and you get a better story and you get better sex. Again, until Faith is an actual character, she's a fucking fat joke.
All right, so Faith is Rebel Wilson in a cape. I agree.
Yeah.
Actually, I might still have this somewhere. I did a brief comic hack together where I took a bunch of things and bunched them together so that it was the issue of Faith where Hillary Clinton was her friend, and it ends with Hillary killing her.
Shooting lasers out of her eyes.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear us, Janelle, but we didn't have our speakers on, so log back in. We'll bring you back on. We'll be able to hear you this time.
Come back, Janelle. We love you.
So Faith's boyfriend has perfect abs. Is he blind?
No, I think she's his beard. Because, diversity and junk.
Oh, so what other woke heroes do we have? And I mean original ones, not bastardized characters that
like
were turned.
Snowflake.
Yeah. I mean, we got Faith, which is just disturbing.
Oh, okay. No. Let's think about this progression. First, you had Iceman, who was the biggest ladies' man. Apparently Faith's boyfriend is a power lifter too.
Well, you'd have to be to make love to her.
You'd have to, yeah.
I
Fuck,
mean,
unless you want to be on, she'd let you be on top, but Oh, and Faith is getting a book in prose format. I know this because I was on the hunt for books featuring superheroes, actual written books. Thanks, Fiona Wolf. Fiona, sorry. Wow. Eloise Doddle. Owen, it's all over the place. Went from St. Patrick's to the Gray Aliens to Marvel's latest mess with their previous one. Indeed.
speaking of which, yeah, we started with St. Patrick's Day to the Fae and Gray Aliens to Marvel, but maybe we need to swing it back round to St. Patrick's Day. What is everybody drinking?
Real quick, I just gotta say, first we had Iceman, the quintessential ladies' man, and then they decided they were going to make him gay. So Iceman is now a flamer, and so, but that's not good enough. So now we have Snowflake. Is that really the progression that we've gotten?
I'm guessing.
So then, is it really bad then that they seem to have been replacing Sue Storm's, invisible force field powers with what is it called? What's this doorknob's name?
Safe space.
With Safe Space. So they've replaced Sue Storm, a character I actually absolutely despise, with Safe Space.
Okay, tell them the story about how you once got in a horrible flame war online in, was it the comic book forums?
Yeah.
Because you flat out said that Sue was a cock tease.
Well,
and
I said more than that.
People went utterly berserk on you.
Yeah. Okay. I despise Sue Storm in every iteration of the character. Now, if you like Sue Storm, good for you. I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong. It's not that at all. It's just like how there are people out there in the world where they have friends and family who love them, but you can't stand to be in the same room with them. It's that way with me and Sue Storm, okay? And it's because I can't stand her personality in any iteration that I have read her in. I don't know what it is about her, whether she's the simpering, young teenager who's got daddy issues involving, Reed Richards and being too hot for teacher, or it's her older cheating on Reed with Namor and then not being adult enough to decide which man she wants to be with and trying to play both. Gee, I wonder why I have a problem with this character. Now, maybe they've done something with her in some iteration that I haven't read. I'm fully willing to admit that. There have been other characters where I ran into that. But when I got on how Sue Storm was a fucking cock tease and that Namor had every right to bitch slap her out of his kingdom and say, look, bitch, choose or get the fuck out.
Oh, isn't that what started it? It was in Civil War where Namor just said, you come to my doorstep now, get the fuck out.
He's like, look, your pussy's not good enough.
And all these guys online were just, oh, he's such a jerk. And you're like, no, he's a smart guy.
He's like, no, Namor has it right. She needs to pick which man she's going to be with, and she should stop flaunting that ass and hoping that Namor will give her what she wants. And, oh, God, the hate. It was amazing.
Actually, that might be a good point. John Byrne's Sue Storm may not fall into that. I don't think you've read any of those.
I have not. As I said, I am perfectly willing to say that there may be some iteration that I have not read that changes my mind. I just have not come across that. So if John Byrne's, Sue Storm may do that, I am willing to to do that. I'm willing to read that.
Wait, Owen, before you go, we haven't gotten to the bit about the leprechaun Guyver.
His pot of gold morphs around his body.
No, it's the story of if you don't leave the bottle of whiskey out, the leprechaun Guyver comes to your house and kicks your ass.
Was it Jason in space or was it Leprechaun in space that your sister was trying out for?
My sister actually auditioned for Leprechaun in Space. That, I'm not going to get too deep into it. I don't want to talk about it. Not my sister auditioned for Leprechaun in Space. That's all I'm going to say.
And it's probably better for all that she did not get the role. She's had other roles, but that one's not for her. Super Anime Gamer. They had Sue cheat on Reed with Namor. Yep, that was over a decade ago. That was for in Civil War. And then Sue went down to Namor and was like, "Hey, remember my sweet ass? Well, I need you to do me a favor." And Namor was like, "Get the fuck out, bitch. I offered you my kingdom and you said no, so fuck off." And that was the thing. Namor offered her his kingdom. He said, "Leave Reed, stay with me." And she said no, but she kept her options open. And he's like, "No, I'm not your fuck buddy, to come whine to and shake that ass to. Go away." So, Cronkins, my uncle built part of the set for the Chucky movie with the roller coaster. That's cool. That's really cool.
So, what?
No, just that's neat. My dad's third wife worked on Power Rangers, so so we've all got people in Hollywood. There was a Leprechaun in Space movie. Was it like Jason X?
It was kind of in the same vibe, same humor. Definitely even more of a B movie than Jason X, but I would say it's the best one. Leprechaun in Space.
Oh, see, that's a hard call because Leprechaun in the Hood was pretty damn funny.
Yeah.
The first one, not the second one.
I prefer Leprechaun in Space. It has every damn cliche in the book. Space Marines, was it chest bursting, a space princess, you listed, it's in there. Gratuitous shower scenes.
Oh, very much so. Gratuitous shower scenes. I think what it is that both Leprechaun in Space and Jason X are extremely self-aware of what they are, and in their own ways are filled with fan service. So really the question is like, which one's better? Well, which do you prefer, Jason or Leprechaun movies, really? That'll tell you which one's better. It's subjective to the viewer.
Well, I don't know. I don't think you can top the line in Jason X of, "Guys, it's all right. He just wanted his machete back."
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, as we continue to celebrate St. Patrick's Day with not drinking alcohol, apparently, or at least our audience drinking, talking about everything but Ireland and Irish culture.
We're getting contact highs of all of our viewers getting drunk through the screen. That's what this is.
Maybe we should take time to reflect on the fact that Irish are one of the few ethnic minorities that it's still okay to joke about, stereotype, and make fun of. And it's okay. The Irish don't mind.
No, they don't. They make the jokes too. They make the jokes too, and they invite you to join.
And what a better place that is, Cinco de Mayo isn't really a Mexican holiday. We kind of made it up, just put it in there. And nowadays, if you wear a sombrero, everyone shits bricks. And there's all this anger over, oh, it's just a bunch of white people coming to the Mexican part of town and drinking Coronas virus. It is, people getting pissed off about that. You remember that? Every year there's more complaints about sombreros and Corona beer.
Yeah, but it's not the Mexican people who were bitching about it. It's all the white people who are going down there to wave their fingers.
No. There's that whole La Raza crowd.
No, Barrio Logan, they loved it.
Of course, that was where they make all their money.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're not the ones who are bitching about it. And TJ, they pretended to bitch about it, but they still liked all the money flowing
But
in.
think about it. Maybe instead of different ethnicities getting all worked up about playful stereotypes, maybe even some crude offensive stereotypes, what if we just honored every race with a holiday where we got drunk in their honor? Wouldn't that just make everything better?
Yeah, everybody get drunk.
Yeah.
Drinking tends to, well, for the most part, drinking makes people happier.
I mean, we could have one day where it's blunts and 40s and
Shit.
another one where it's plum wine, and we could have vodka day for our Eastern European and Russian citizens in honor of them.
Vodka.
And since Muslims, who are not really an ethnicity, but if we want to celebrate their culture, it'll be vodka day again because, well, it's not made from a fruit, so vodka's technically okay with the Prophet.
Technically, it's not haram. That is true.
Think about it. When I went to San Francisco State, Eloise Doddle, oh God, the La Razas were the worst fucking assholes. And the thing is I went to college in San Francisco. So if you were a race group, you got an open mic in the quad, and they would just sit up there and scream into the mic, "Fuck white people, fuck Americans," just on and on. It's like, we're trying to eat lunch, assholes. And then they'd play that crappy ranchera music.
Cronkins, can Muslims drink mead then, since it's made from honey?
Technically he may have a point.
Well, okay. What is it?
Can't be made from bread or fruit.
Okay, so it can't be honey that's from flowering fruit plants. So clover, yeah, that works. Ishi's topping off here. So you got me live and unplugged and all by myself. So I'm going to read what people are saying. Endless Nocturne. I miss people making gay jokes. I liked the feeling of being included and all the mutual respect via crude jokes. Really? That's cool. No, seriously, that's actually a really neat perspective to hear. I mean, I've had friends who made the jokes themselves are probably raunchier than other people who who weren't gay. So that's great to hear that that you miss hearing those jokes. See, damn it, this is why. God, my brain's not working. We need to be making jokes more. We need to be making fun of each other more, because there's nothing wrong with a little bit of, good-natured ribbing, a good-natured poking. This is what gives us, thicker skin and able to deal with, real hardships and real problems. I mean, shit. The fact that so many people can't tell what's a joke and what's reality anymore. And it's just absolutely disgusting. And people have no perspective anymore on when it's appropriate to, be a little pissed off and when it's appropriate to take it to 11. And it's stuff like that. We need to be making jokes at each other again. None of this sacred cow bullshit. Especially if it's faith.
I missed when gay people liked making gay jokes.
Yeah, I was just saying, I had friends that made gay jokes. Gay friends who made gay jokes.
I can say this because, hold on. Certain family members have converted to this religion and have married into this religion. So I feel it's fair for me to say. Remember when it was okay to make Jew jokes with Jews?
Yeah.
You remember that? Remember the 70s?
we're just enjoying a Mel Brooks film.
Yeah, exactly. Nowadays, I think he'd probably be beheaded.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, where is Mel Brooks when you need him? Come back, Mel. We need to turn you into a cyborg so we can keep you around.
He is one of those people who the world will genuinely be a lesser place without him when he goes. That is not a day that I am looking forward to in any way, shape, or form. Actually, it makes me sad thinking about it. Super Anime Gamer Girl, trying to get back on topic, kinda. Did either of you read Liam Sharp's Brave and the Bold miniseries, Batman and Wonder Woman journeying through Celtic myth? It's great.
Damn, actually, that does sound pretty good. No, I haven't read that.
Oh, but that reminds me, I need to finish showing you Gargoyles because they start, traveling through the mists with Oberon and Titania. Well, not with them, but it's because of the Fae. It's because of the Fae that they're able to, journey through first space and then after a while time. It was a great story arc, and I liked how it shook up the general story of the show, because after a while it was starting to be monster of the week almost. Well, yeah, monster of the week pretty much with a is Xanatos really
was
a
it
bad
Puck who they had show up?
They had Puck show up. They had both Titania and Oberon. They pulled a lot from Midsummer Night's Dream in that show, which I really like. And then Macbeth. There you go.
Yeah. Well, Macbeth is Scottish.
No, I know he's Scottish, but still.
Okay, let's go on a sidetrack that has nothing to do with St. Patrick's Day. Macbeth.
Okay.
Now, among the billions of projects I would like to someday tackle, I had always dreamed that it would be really cool to do a 70s era, wise guys, mafioso retelling in New York of Macbeth, and replace the witches with like a Haitian witch and fortune teller, and it be a mobster trying to ascend the ranks.
I like.
Second, has anyone else really thought about the fact that Macbeth really is a horror story?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. It's a horror story.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it totally is a horror story. And yes, Kronkins, I had forgotten that Odin showed up as well in Gargoyles.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, he was vital to a really long story arc in second season. So
I still need to get through that one.
Yes,
we only
you
did
do.
season 1.
I don't know if we finished season 1.
We did.
We did? Okay. So.
And then we were going to jump to the next. We took a break and watched a few things, and then life popped up and we made comics.
Yeah. Gee, it's amazing how that happens. Like, I don't know. It's just we were watching Gargoyles. Next thing we know, we were making comics.
Yeah, kind of. And after a while, we were playing with trains so much we weren't even drunk in the morning.
We were sober in the daytime. No, sorry, that's from Trailer Park Boys. For those of you who have not seen that show, definitely check it out. I believe Netflix still has it.
Let's see. Yeah, I miss Gargoyles. Well, the thing is now that we are confined to the house,
we can start watching it again.
More media.
Yes.
Which actually is true. With more time indoors, now granted, nothing's really changed for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just scheduling's changed because Kat's in the house all the time now. So
yeah, they have me working from home.
Well, no, you see, I actually have more time now because there's no commute.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to work around that. When you're free, I can be free.
Yeah.
Which actually frees me up. And I've been watching Gantz in the evenings. And I think that may actually deserve an episode eventually.
Mm-hmm.
We've been watching more films. You've been watching a lot of stuff about clay.
Well, I've been getting into sculpting. I'm currently working on a piece that has a. It's gonna eventually look like a hatch on the side of a spaceship, and some weird alien creature. Actually, I'm picturing it like looking like a shoggoth coming out of the hatch when I'm done with it. So I need to take a picture and share with you all how it looks so far.
Speaking of everyone being confined to their homes to avoid the plague, the mask of the Red Death. If I were to start putting stories up on Kindle for 99 cents, and this would be prose, would you guys buy them?
How long a story are you talking?
Oh, short stories.
Short stories?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, do not mention Thundercats Roar Endless Nocturne.
No, I'm going to pretend that I didn't hear that.
Oh, let's actually actually talk about that. Let's get a rant out of Cat before we shut the night down.
I'll have
Thundercats.
I am wearing my Mumra hoodie right now. I love Thundercats, but original Thundercats. And I remember once in the early aughts, yeah, because I was just out of college, seeing concept art for them, updating it. Maybe it was a comic book that they had put out first.
There was an anime version that came out in the early 2000s, I believe,
where Wily Kit and Wily Cat were all grown up.
I don't know.
And they had been captured and enslaved by Mumra, actually, and it's them chained up in a. If you've ever seen the devil card from the tarot, it's Mumra in the middle with them chained up on either side of him. Oh, it was a great picture. It was also kind of disturbing because it's like, I remember seeing you guys as children and now you're teens chained up to Mumra.
Speaking of chained up, we tend to end up talking a lot about nostalgia on this channel for some reason. I'm not sure why that veered in that direction. I know that I've been thinking a lot about my youth strictly because of what I'm writing right now and trying to think back to what I was like and how I thought back then and what it was like to see the world through teenage eyes. But yeah, it does seem interesting that we keep talking about nostalgia lately. So on that note, I would like to bring up He-Man, She-Ra, Thundercats, trying to think of any others. The G.I. Joe, I guess, to a lesser degree.
All have redheads.
Yeah. Silverhawks. You start looking back at all these. You ever get the notion that these kind of left an impression on kids that later shaped their sexuality, and that's kind of what's wrong with us?
More than likely, yeah.
I mean, you look at He-Man, and there's such a BDSM metaphor going on in the background there, as well as the closeted gay thing.
Oh, yeah, totally. Or at the very least, maybe in some small way, He-Man made it possible for, young gay kids, specifically boys, to say, you know what, it's okay.
It's okay to be butch?
Yeah.
I didn't really think about that, but that's entirely likely.
Some small message in the back of their minds.
And how many furries have you met, in our age group at least, that the first thing that comes to mind was, well, I was watching Thundercats when I was a kid.
If it wasn't Thundercats, it was Brian Blessed in Flash Gordon.
Furries?
The bear? The flying bear?
I thought that was more of a gay biker thing, wasn't it?
But he had wings.
Oh, I guess. Okay.
I've had furries tell me they thought of him.
I mean, from a personal opinion, I can definitely tell that Linda Carter and Wonder Woman definitely left an impression on a young mind. At that age, I didn't quite know what it was that I liked about the show because it really wasn't that great of a show. But yeah, there was just something about it. What?
There weren't really cartoons that I what was I watching? Well, my favorite character in Thundercats was Mumra. He does not jump my bones. What else was I watching? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. No, I'm not into that. I like Shredder.
Okay,
down. I'm totally down with the Shredder. So
Sailor Moon. There is a show topic. Endless Nocturne. I think that actually that Sailor Moon hasn't gotten the attention it should. I mean, you go on the internet and I can find endless documentaries about the impact of DBZ and the influence and the history of, and maybe I'm looking in the wrong places, but I cannot find a damn thing about Sailor Moon. And I find that kind of a shame because even though I discounted it as a college student, because I mean, I think the first exposure I had to Sailor Moon, I was a senior in high school, and the local college anime club were getting bootlegs at the time. And at the time, I had no idea why the hell they found it so entertaining. I wanted to see Bubblegum Crisis. But talking to Kat and talking to so many other Gen X females, and how they all kept coming back to that one property or that one character, and then Kat showing me, actually sitting me down and showing me a couple seasons, and realizing why I would have to say Sailor Moon was probably the most influential and enduring hero to come around in media in the last 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's endured and has influence on both sides of the world. It's influenced the way that animation's made. It's influenced how comics are written and how a lot of female characters were portrayed before the woke shit. So yeah, I think there's a lot there. And why did that story work? Why did it resonate with so many people? And what does it have that so many female comic book characters today get wrong, or female heroes get wrong?
A variety of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But really, I think above everything, it's they're scared to actually have a character, to write characters. Well, females tend to not be characters.
Bunny, Serena, take your pick. I mean, Serena was a fuck up. That was the thing that got me. She was a complete fuck up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Serena was a fuck up. Mina was too, to a certain extent, but not as much as Serena. Ray was an overachiever and a bitch.
Yeah, but I'm going to admit, from a male standpoint, Ray's not the one you'd ever want to marry, but you'd want to be with her for a while. That's kind of fun.
Amy was the the bookish nerd who was so focused on studying and so focused on making the grade that if it wasn't for her friends, she would lose out on life.
Okay, yeah, so you've listed that, but what is it about these characters that resonate?
Well, again, A, they have flaws, and B, they're not, each character individually is not trying to appeal to every female that's ever existed.
Anime Acid Trip, I said you wouldn't want to marry Ray, you just want to have some fun with her for a time. Yeah, Jupiter's the one you marry.
Yeah, Jupiter's the one I gravitate to. She, anger problems, loves to get into fights. But also loves to cook. That's me. I was totally there with Jupiter. And that's what I mean is when it comes to girls, okay, you may not agree with me, but this is from my own experience. Females, by and large, naturally try to gravitate to similar to them or similar to what they want to be. They even if it's not mapping themselves onto the character, they will gravitate towards the character that is either like them or how they wish to be. So if you are going to appeal to the female audience, don't make a catch-all one character, because you're not going to catch them all. It's not like Pokemon. Guys, you can say, here is a hero and give him good qualities and traits that epitomize him as a hero and give him a couple of flaws to make him human. And most males are pretty happy with that. Females aren't. They need to have the character that they can glom onto and say, I am like this one. And so if you are going to have female heroes and you're going to do it right, you do have to have an ensemble cast. the problem is that a lot of modern day heroes have that ensemble cast idea, but they forget to give them character. They forget to round them out with flaws. You wind up with three characters who are at best stereotypes and at worst cardboard cutouts posing as people. And it's always insulting and always horrendous. And yeah.
Well, didn't you say that you were sick one day? It was high school. You were sick at home one day from school, and you and your mom stumbled across.
It wasn't high school.
It wasn't?
No.
I keep forgetting our age difference.
It was elementary school.
Oh, God. I feel like a... Man. 8 years is a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it is.
Yeah. No, it is. This was 94, 95, 94. Yeah, 94. I was in elementary school.
Yeah, geez. Cradle robber.
Yeah.
And yeah, you said that you and your mom stumbled across Sailor Moon, and you were like, what the hell is this? And the next thing you know, you guys were stuck on it.
Yeah. They were doing a Sailor Moon marathon on KCOP channel 13 in Los Angeles. This was before it became the UPN, and they were doing a Sailor Moon marathon all day, and both my mom and I were just watching it with our mouths hanging open. It's like, you're seeing this, right?
I was in college too, comics division. That's why I feel creepy.
I don't mean to creep you guys out. If it helps, I'm in my 30s now.
That gap means less and less the older we get.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just I've noticed that as a continual thread among a lot of Gen Xers.
Well, the other thing with girls is it's because they don't have flaws, they don't have real obstacles to overcome, real personal obstacles to overcome on top of whatever.
But yet in Sailor Moon, they were all flawed. They had infighting, they had rivalries.
Well, at the end of the day, they still had homework. At the end of the day, they still struggled to make the grades. At the end of the day, Serena is constantly shoving her face with food and having everybody around her tell her, if you keep pounding those donuts, you're going to be fat and you won't fit into your sailor outfit.
I remember once you telling me another thing that most American interpretations of Magical Girl got wrong, was that there was always an underlying theme to them that the woman or the girl had to carry a burden and self-sacrifice personal needs for a greater good.
Mm-hmm.
And in this current me empowerment obsession with strong female protagonists, that doesn't work.
No.
Considering others first.
No, it doesn't. I mean, tell me, where is that anywhere in the Harley Quinn film that just came out?
She's a villain. They're all villains in that, apparently. Yes. They're psychopaths.
And that's the problem. Even when they're heroes, they're villains.
Yeah.
They seem to have forgotten that women still need to be heroes. And supposedly this new Wonder Woman film may fit that bill, but I don't know.
I'm apathetic.
The trailer makes me sad, and
I am so burnt out with superhero properties. I don't care. I mean, I'll look into something that's independent.
Mm-hmm.
If an indie does it, okay, I'll give it a shot. But the big two, I don't care anymore. I just don't care.
And I definitely don't care what they're doing with Black Widow. It's too little, too late, and the story looks like it might as well be a sitcom with a laugh track. I mean, it's actually kind of depressing. Comics division. It's funny, even the Mary Sue wants to see female characters with flaws now. Really?
Took them a while.
Where the fuck have you guys been? Jesus.
Well, since everyone is now mentioning the anime that stuck with them or was the gateway, we already did a full show on mine, which was Robotech or Macross. And then that very, very young experience, I must have been 4 years old and remember watching Star Blazers. Those
Yeah.
were really my two real exposures. I mean, there was Battle of the Planets, but that was so disjointed and it kind of was given a Super Friends treatment that it never really got to be what it should have been.
Mm.
Remember I tried showing it to you?
Yeah.
And even you couldn't get through it?
No. No, for me, yes, I was watching Sailor Moon, and then in junior high, the friends I was running with had bootlegs from Japan of Lodos Wars. And so I got to see Lodos Wars, and it was entertaining, but I'll be honest, I played Dungeons and Dragons, so it's like I can go.
Well, you know that was based on
on their game, yeah. So I was just kind of like, I mean, it was entertaining, but no, it was watching Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was catching Vampire Hunter D on Saturday Anime on the Sci-Fi Channel at like 2 a.m. And I had that jaw drop. I can't believe I'm watching this reaction to this film. And that has become one of my, not only one of my favorite films, but one of my favorite series and favorite characters of all time.
Well, if we're going to go off the theory that what we're exposed to as children and adolescents tends to have an impression on our sexuality and who we become, I suppose if that really is it, that explains a lot.
Oh, Vampire Hunter D.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that explains a lot, huh?
Oh, that explains volumes, in fact.
No, D, and then I was so excited when Bloodlust came out. Oh, I was jumping up and down for a year and a half before it finally, hit our shores. And I own 2 of the animation cells from that film, in fact.
Yeah. So.
And Ishii has
yes.
an animation cell from Ghost in the Shell.
Yes, I do. It's the scene in which the Major and 2501 are on the ground, and they're doing she's doing the brain dive, and Bateau is about to unplug her, and something takes control of his arm and prevents him from pulling the plug. I have one of those cells.
Mm-hmm.
But we should. I know that we keep saying we will, and I know that we did the one with Robotech and we did the one about Perfect Blue. We really need to start doing more. Just we watch a film, we kind of pull it apart, why it worked, how it resonated, what it says to you.
Well, should we go back and forth between a new film we'd never seen and an older film that we have seen before?
Well, I'm kind of a volume of information when it comes to Ghost in the Shell and Skycrawlers.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know you've been wanting to do Skycrawlers.
Yeah, I absolutely want to do Skycrawlers. I mean, if there's ever a film that I felt spoke to me, that was the one. But, Ghost in the Shell had so many... The influence of that film is so far-reaching. And the funny thing is, it didn't do well in Japan. It did well here.
Really?
Really, it's not the classic there that it is here.
That's interesting. But then again, Oshi is more Western influenced, and so there's a lot of themes in it that are more Western than Eastern.
Yeah, the Gnostic and Catholic themes kept coming up in the film.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, definitely. And I kind of wonder if that was why it didn't resonate as well and didn't become the phenomena. It was only a minor success there. Still want to do Tokyo Gore Police. But no, especially with Ghost in the Shell, the film, there were so many things that it had just pulled together, merging ideas such as things that were first presented in Neuromancer and just Max Headroom as well, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of pulled them all together in such a wonderful way. All right, so let's see. Should we wrap this up?
Well, we've been at it for an hour 20.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Real quick, what film do you think we should do next, guys? Not saying we will, but we love your suggestions.
Let's see. Anyone else see X2000? Ah, yes, Semantic Dragon. The many deaths of that one chick. Comics Division. Ishii, did you see that Netflix is doing a new Ghost in the Shell series?
Yeah, I did. I saw that brief preview, and I got to admit, it didn't really impress me visually. I mean, I'm really hoping those were test renders because they looked very underwhelming. Um, Ghost in the Shell had always been such a vivid and the world was always so alive. There was so much going on in it. And I got to admit, the clips they showed looked very, very sterile. But at the same time, I'm familiar with the director who's doing the show. Give me a second. I want to get the information right. I don't want to misquote it. But I've seen a number of things he's done. Let's see. But he did the was it the Traders of Mars Starship Troopers CGI, and he also did, I believe, a couple of the Appleseed films.
Oh, did
And
he do that really good Appleseed film that we've got?
that he did. I want to get the name correct. So, what was it? Appleseed Ex Machina? Was it?
I think so. Yeah.
So, at the same time, if he can pull it off, I'll be very happy. The fact that it says Netflix, I have my worries, naturally. There we go. I found it. Yeah, he did the 2004 Appleseed film, and then he did the follow-up. Let's see, where'd it go? Oh, I'm sorry. IMDb is not being my friend right now. What the hell? Again, oh, okay, so he did the Blade Runner Blackout 2022 short that was probably the best thing to come out of that film. He did Appleseed Alpha as well. And so, oh, he did the Shadow Chronicles too, apparently. So,
okay.
He's
You
got
did Gasaraki, really?
He's got really good. He's got a really good track record. So initially, when I saw it, I had very little hope. I didn't want to get my hopes up.
He did Traders to Mars.
Yeah, he did Traders of Mars. Yeah.
Oh.
So seeing what he's done in the past, this could be finally making up for Arise.
Yeah, you want to get Ishii to see her head, bring up Arise.
Just turning Major into a child just felt really creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really creepy. The Major's a grown woman. Let's keep it that way. I mean, the rebirth metaphor in the film where she comes back as a child was metaphoric. It was only there briefly for a reason.
It's like making Goku a kid.
I'm not going there. So no. Let's keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll get something good out of it. Okay. Anything else? We are in agreement with so many things, Comics Division. It's one of the reasons I watch your show so much, is that I agree with a lot of your views. And yes, Arise pissed me off too. Well, as much as I would like to continue, I'm beginning to lose my voice. But I'm always shocked that these get such a turnout and you guys enjoy them so much. I'm glad you enjoyed my leprechaun story at the beginning and my brief family history. And Kat's rants about the Invisible Woman.
Yes. I have many more rants if
right.
you care to hear.
Since you all seem to like the idea of me uploading some of my stories to Kindle for 99 cents, I'll look into doing that in the next couple of weeks. And in the meantime, enjoy your quarantine. And remember, you'll probably be fine.
Yes, and thank you all very much for joining us. Have a very happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm sure most of you are home, but if you're not, safe travels home, not only because drunks are out there, but for other reasons too. So thank you all very much.